Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fri-Yay drawing, comic, everything in there live stream. So I'm glad you could make it today or on any other day. It doesn't have to be Friday because the beauty of the internet and recording. So I'm glad you made it. This is a live stream. I'm going to be getting some work done on my comic page. But before I get into that, I'll introduce myself if it is your first time here on my channel. My name is Jessica, and I am an illustrator. That was very redundant. And writer of InterStella Space Angel. So this is the little graphic novel I've made, and it's on my website. You can actually read the story there. This is a special print book. It does have some fun bonus features. So I will be bringing this for sale at some point on my website, but right now I'm actually focusing on working on my main graphic novel. So that's the thing I'm working on now is the follow-on to that story. And it's really the meat and potatoes of this storyline. So that is what I'm going to be working on today. I'm just going to be walking you through a little bit of my process and getting some work done and chatting. So if you want to jump into the chat and say hello or ask any questions, please feel free to do so. I will get to the chat as soon as I can. Sometimes I won't be able to answer every question as it comes through because I might be focused, but yeah, come hang out. So another thing to note is I've been having better issue in the past. I've had issues with my audio or actually my resolution. So if that does crop up, just let me know, but I think we should be in the clear today. So I am just going to go ahead and pull up. I'm going to show you my screen. Okay, so I don't see anyone in the chat yet, but I will keep an eye on that. So yeah, so today I have a page I need to work on. And what I've been doing is I've been drawing all the individual drawings in my sketchbook, and then I will put it into Photoshop. And with actually Clip Studio 2, and I will then compile them onto my page into their separate panels. As of right now, I found that this is the best process for me to use when making a comic page. It's really hard to, at least for me at this point in my journey, to create a page from start to finish. And I find that I'm moving a lot of panels and I'm changing things around. So scaling things, fixing anatomy. So this is just the better way of doing it, at least I find for now. So, and I have a lovely little art assistant here, but you are so cute and so distracting that I'm going to have to put you outside. Okay. You were so quiet, and then we started. Bye. See you later. All right. That's my cat, Rainy. And she's adorable, but a bit of a diva. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. That's going to do kind of this funkadelic little woo. There we go. So we're going to go ahead. Actually, move this over so I can keep an eye out on you. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, for whatever reason, Photoshop doesn't want to play nicely with StreamYard. Go figure. Something maybe needs to be updated, or who knows. So, yeah, and we're not going to actually be in Photoshop a lot. I'm just going to show you, really, I'll just show you every stage. And this is a process I'm still refining. I'm hoping I'll get to the point where I can streamline it so it just goes faster and faster. But what we see right here is a bunch of different drawings. And if I want to actually show you the other page first. No, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and isolate these first. So this is a scan of my sketchbook. And you can see there's a little bit of blue line in here. I mostly just do things in pencil. We have a couple different pages. I got the rough drawings in here, and I'm going to take these drawings and I'm going to plug them into my comic page. So Yeah, so like some of these might need to be fixed. They're overall pretty good, partly unfinished, but I do draw better in a sketchbook. I just feel more comfortable. It's just the feeling of the tactile paper in the pencil, and so I just tend to produce better images. I'm just more comfortable there. So it does add another step of scanning it in and then compiling them. But you know what? I'm going to work with what I got. All right. So first thing I need to do is I'm not going to worry about like keeping these lines beautiful and pristine. But I am going to isolate the sketches. So I'm going to go ahead, just crop that. We should move that. Can I move this? Yay. All right, right up there. Okay, so let's see. So I just cropped it a little bit. And what that does is later when I use levels, if you're familiar with levels, none of this darkness here affects the way the levels turn out. It also just keeps it a lot cleaner, not have to worry about anything else apart from what I need. All right, so now so I do have a little bit of blue line. I don't need this information where the blue is. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my channels, click blue, and that basically just gets rid of those blue lines for the most part. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Now I'm going to go image, grayscale. Sure, flatten layers. It's really one layer. And I'm going to use my levels. I'm going to boost the whites and the darks. And I'm not too concerned about getting this perfect right now because these sketches are going to be inked over later. But it's going to help me work with them much more easily. Okay, so that seems pretty good. All right, good enough. And then we're going to go image back to RGB. And I'm going to I'll just add some white underneath so that we can see it a little better. And another empty layer on top. Make sure black is my top color. And now I'm going to hit Control, click RGB, and that creates the little marching ants. Control-Shift-I reverses that selection. And if I use my paint can, click, you kind of saw that the lines got darker, but if I remove layer 0, now I have these beautiful isolated sketches. Kind of what I was showing last week if I, colored, it's not the best one, whatever, colored underneath, there's no white at all. And that's exactly what I want. Whereas this one, even without that bottom layer showing, this is stuck together, the white and the lines. So, okay, so I did that. And then actually I'm going to make this a little bigger. I'll explain why in a minute. Let's just go to 10, and I'm just going to go to 20 right now. Okay. And we'll fill in this bottom back layer with white so we can see what we're doing. All right, and now I'm going to do the same thing with this layer. It's a little bit crooked, so I'm going to just kind of, there we go. Fix that. And crop. Okay. Now I'm going to, not really any blue, like a little bit there. Yeah, sure, I'll just get rid of that. So it makes a little, well, I'm going to keep it for now because otherwise I will lose this in here are a little bit lighter. So I'll just turn it all to grayscale, discard, and boost the whites, boost the dark. It doesn't have to be perfect. I turn it again to grayscale, so I'm not dealing with any random assortment of color. And now I'll turn it back. Mode, RGB, channels, Control to RGB, Control-Shift-I. And see, I don't even need to put in a white in the background. I can literally just click, and now I have them separated. So I'm actually going to copy this, bring it over here, and maybe a little bit. Let's go a little bit longer. Yeah, did it get cut off? Nope. Okay. All right, there we go. So now I have all my drawings, on one page. I can get rid of that. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and just save this as a temporary PSD file. And now I'm going to take this and bring it over to Clip Studio and do the majority of my work in Clip Studio. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this for a minute. So let me go ahead and just save this file. And then I will get rid of the file that I just made later. I won't really need it anymore. But there. Okay, so that's there. I'm done with Photoshop right now. So I can go ahead. Oh, am I still sharing my screen? Oh, no, it's not showing. Okay, good. All right. So I'm actually going to now pull up lovely Clip Studio. And let me also, while I'm doing that, check the chat. Helen says, hi, Reenie. Oh, Reenie makes herself known all the time. And hello, welcome, Punk Mop. Glad you guys can make it. Okay. Now let's share Clip Studio. Okay. Hello. Here we go. All right. Beautiful blank page. I need to do something to make it even prettier. Okay, so let's see if I can minimize that. Ah, that's great. Okay, so I have my page and I realize I need to open up. Called it delete me later because I won't need it later. So here's all my drawings and here's my page. So this, I'm working on like a page spread. And I'm going to quickly show you the page before it. So this is the page before it. And here, I'll pop that in there too. There you go. So you can kind of see what's going on. Aha. All right. There we go. So this is a page before, in the one I just finished creating the sketch line for. So the plan with this page is I will go print it in non-photo blue, or that blue color, onto an 11 by 17, where then I will ink it traditionally. So I go from traditional to a little bit of digital editing, back to traditional inking, and then I scan it back in and do my colors digitally. It's a little bit of ping pong, but it works. It works for now. I might end up changing in the future, but this works well for now. And again, the nice thing about this, about doing all my drawings, putting it together, moving it around, is it really allows me to play with my composition. And oftentimes a lot of errors will surface and I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't work, like I thought it did in my thumbnail. So then I'm moving things around, changing things, resizing things. So yeah, so here you see the panels and the word balloon approximate placement. And what was interesting with this page is at first I actually had that middle portion flipped. So that's like a professor standing there. He was on the left side and the other panels were on the other side. And I can actually show you that because I made a quick mock-up. That was the original composition. My concern about this composition is, if you can see my mouse here, it starts up here. You want to create a good flow. So you see these two faces, you read the word bubbles, and then you come down here, so like this, it's not a bad design, but I found that let's go. These two characters were stacked right on top of each other. And they kind of have a similar expression right now. So it was a little too redundant. Same face angle. It's you could call that tangent, maybe more like a conceptual tangent. Yes, I did like how the word balloons kind of flowed like that. But this felt too much of an issue. So that's why, just delete that. That's why I end up going with this composition. And I just had to flip the professor. You can kind of see, I did flip the classroom too. But the flow is still really good. We still have a decent, I'm going to turn green because, we have a decent flow here. So kind of like you start here, you hit his face, you see that, you read the words, you kind of like drift over here, see his face, and then exit that way. And then we'll exit into the next page. So it does create a better flow rather than like this. You weren't sure if you're going to go this way or if you should go this way. So that's at least the logic that I perceive from it. But I'd be curious to know your guys' thoughts. Maybe you're like, no, I get this way better. There's not really a definite right or wrong. There definitely are better choices, and it's always interesting to hear what other people think and what they see, because everyone sees it differently. So this is a page I'm working with, or the page I just finished, so it's going to be ready for lines. And then all I'll just do is get rid of those and then ink whatever I need to ink. These are little stand-in figures. So I'm not to the point where I can just, get a page drawn on to get a face drawn onto the page and ink without really drawing it out beforehand. It is helpful to have a good foundation, and all I have to do is make it look pretty. Some people can do that. Some artists are really good at being able to kind of like give a quick sketch and then they just draw their face on top of that. I hope to get there someday, but until then, I'm working with what I got. But these students in the background, they're small enough and not as important enough that I can figure it out on ink page. They just need some basic details done. So that is what I just came off of. So now, let's see. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I like this. It's almost like planting tall and short plants. They need to be in proportion to each other. Yeah, plants and not plants. Yes, I know. It's like garden design. I love gardening. It's definitely seeing things as a whole, because something can look really good individual, but with a comic page, it has to look cohesive as a page. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my thumbnails. Let's see. So this is my little page of thumbnails. Here's all my thumbnails. And they're really rough. I know what's going on in them. All right, so, and this is a frame that I have. Again, I mentioned in my last live stream, I can play with the opacity, but it just shows me where the page will be trimmed so that if I want to preview to see what my page looks like at cut length, that's what it looks like. This little bounding box here is a safe zone. So any word bubbles or important information should stay within that frame or that box. The frame I'm going to set to approximate opacity. That's what it looks like removed. I still create my artwork to the bleed line, which is right here at the edge. But this just sort of helps me out. So I'm going to go ahead and, all right. And I don't know how much I'll actually be getting done here today, but all right. Oh, is that the, sorry, pencil. Oh, stabilization is so set high. All right, so what I'm going to do is just roughly block out where I want my boxes to be. Let's just say approximately there. That will probably change. It's going to be a pretty simple design. And then we're going to put another box here like so. So it's going to be something like this. And I think I actually want this a little lower. Thereabouts. Okay. I'm going to call that sketch. I'm actually going to do panels sketch. And I like to really use folders. It keeps everything organized. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to create my folders as is. I'm going to say panel 1 classroom. I'm going to give that a color. I'm going to give it, how many panels? How many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Panel classroom. Panel 2. I'm going to call it eye roll for now. Whatever is easy enough for me to identify in my brain. Panel 3. Oops. Panel 3. I'm going to say trade-off. These are my little code words. And these code words are based off of kind of what's happening in that panel. Panel 4, tough. Just go straight down the line. And one more panel. Oop. I did that wrong. Whiteboard. Actually, we're going to do draw. Okay. I will fix that. Panel 3, panel 3, panel 4. Okay. So now, yeah, so every panel has its own contents. And I do that because I can then independently move them around if I need to. Sometimes if it's simple enough, I might just keep it all in one panel or page. But we're going to go ahead. So this, grab him, copy, make sure, I'm going to, there we go. Copy, paste. Let me say, look. So this actually needs to be a classroom scene. So I have to still do some rough sketching of this classroom, but I will come back to that. Okay. Just going to right now transfer all these and their notes. I'm going to grab this right now. Copy. Paste. My roll sketch. Okay. What did I say there? I can't even read that. I'll have to look at it in a minute. Trade off. Let's call that sketch. This is pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to say cuff and draw. Draw. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm not too concerned. I'll have to fix the dimensions of these in a bit. But what I'm going to do is grab a reference image. You can find it. Okay. So I'm actually on the website called Sketchfab, and I just typed in like a classroom scene. So I am going to use a reference of a classroom that I will like draw over a little bit, but then tweak it and fix it to make it appropriate for what I'm trying to do. And I just remembered something over here. Let's see. No, never mind. I can leave that for now. Okay. I probably don't need that right now. All right, so give me a second here. Let's see if it will. Perfect. I'm going to show you. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now, but I'll show it to you in a minute. All right, so let's pop you out. You know what? We can just do this instead. I lost it. Oh, here it is. Let's try this. I like this better. Ha! I like this a lot better. Okay. Oh, I promise I will show you in a second what I'm doing. I'm working with a 3D model that's there, grabbing my screenshot, and let's see if I can do this. Huh. So that's my screenshot of my monitors. And we're just going to cut, delete. Okay. Paste and flip. There. Okay, so I kind of chose an approximate height, and I'm using this as a basis, but I'm not going to go 1 for 1. And I'm right now figuring out the scale of everything. Oops. I closed something out. It won't let me open it up again. Huh, okay, wheel. Here it is. Okay. Anyways, that was weird. And depending on how much I need to do with this, I might need to actually work on this more later and fix some things. I am going to quickly I'm going to give this a bounding box. So I'll show you. We're going to say this is what the panel limits are about. So I'm going to grab this here. This is Kyle. So I just kind of want to do some rough penciling in. This is just me sort of thinking out loud. Thinking out loud. Thinking not out loud. That's not very out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Might just do 4. Kind of roughly placing things. So it's based on the classroom from the previous. And I'm kind of using these desks here. It just, instead of having to build all the perspective from scratch, it is a helpful tool. So that puts it 1, 2, whoa, that's off. And usually I'll just have to check and check again. So it's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to have to move this over a bit. Okay. hear the artist thinking. Oh, hello. Ryan Clater just popped in. Happy Friday. Ryan Clater just had an awesome Kickstarter, amazing Kickstarter. Sorry, I can't talk at the same time. He just funded in November a book about process, about artistic and creative process. Man, I know I'm right now because I'm drawing. I'm blanking on the name. One bite at a time, right? I think I got that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. One bite at a time. Man, you should check it out. I know it's over, but I don't know if you have any other ways for people to get copies or at least just see what's about. You can drop your link there. That's a really, really cool Kickstarter. Just fantastic book. I'm so blown away at your, like, it's just such a labor of love and all the attention to detail that you put into this. I'm so excited to get this copy. And we have Jace Ramirez. Hello. Welcome. Happy Friday. Okay. Trying to figure out. This is the riveting part of being an artist. So this is just kind of taking a moment to see if this composition works. Now, I keep pressing shift and my computer's like, is everything okay with your shift key? Like, we can fix it. I'm like, yes, it's fine. It's not sticky. I'm just getting work. I know. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like really concerned. Whoa, it was a little too dark. It's fine. Okay. And I might need to do some redrawing, but at least for now, this will help lock in the concept a little bit more, giving me something to work with. So I know for sure I'm actually not going to complete this panel on air because I am not talented enough to think, draw, and talk. And then it would just get really, really boring and quiet in here. Okay. I think that's pretty good. So now what I'm looking at is I kind of want this scene here is to be like this pan out scene where you just see Kyle is like the only guy raising his hand. So like a little bit of context without giving away too much. In this panel here, professor's talking, he's asking for volunteers to come up to the board and like people are raising hands and they're kind of dropping them one by one. And then before you know it, he looks around and he's the only one raising his hand. So in this whole classroom. So I kind of want to have that like zoom out, like crickets effect. He's like, oh, guess I'm the only one. So I'm not going to show the whole classroom because again, I want Kyle as a subject to remain big enough. I'm kind of looking at this. Hold on. Oh, here we go. So I'm looking at this as its own standalone image. And then on top of that, I'm also keeping an eye out. Can't seem to find the right layer. How does it fit into the overall composition of the page? So I don't want him too small that you miss him. I don't want him too big because then that means you don't get that nice, beautiful pan out. I'm the only one in the classroom raising a hand effect. So I'm just going to delete that. I drew on my layer. Oh, fun. There we go. So I'm going to keep him that size, but I'm also trying to make sure that he is proportionate to the desk and he's not too big or too small. So let me try something. I'm going to say blocked in students. All right. Yay. That's really kind. Thank you, Ryan. That's really cool. Keeping at it. Keeping at it. I just miss hanging out and chatting with people. Arting can be a lonely job. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of doodling in a corner here. All right, so that's right. That's what I was doing. Actually, I'm going to have him. Okay, so this is his friend sitting next to him. He's going to be kind of like folding his arms. Let me just quickly check the previous page. I'm just kind of getting a rough scale. Students versus the desks. Maybe that, students right there. And I'm not going to worry too much about what they're doing. I work in so many layers. Let's say desks, sketches. Because again, I love to move things around and play around. Maybe it's a hallmark of a perfectionist. Okay, who cares? Or just that's the style. And I gotta work with what I know. Okay. So mostly just kind of blocking in. Okay, yeah. So that's second row. Just want to make sure that each row of students he feels like this guy is like sitting so low. He's like trying to hide under the desk. All right. Row 3. And then I'll probably combine these eventually, or I'll put them all in another folder. It's like Inception, like layers of layers of layers of layers, layers of layers in folders. These file sizes get nuts after a while. And when I do draw on these students, I'm going to try to make sure that they're not all like sitting perfectly in a line like it's a military institution. I'm going to have some like kind of leaning over, whatever, like kind of leaning this way, or maybe not sitting perfectly there. But for right now, I just want to get the overall concept, the gestalt. That's your little $5 art term of the day, the overall picture concept of what's going on here. Yeah, so this, I'm definitely going to work on this page. Hey, Lily. Might have more brain capacity. Something-ish. I'm going to have to fix that. Okay. I think that's 3. Wow, this is magical. I think we'll just say about there. Okay. 1, 2, we're going to go 4. Okay, something like that. Boop. Okay. Okay. And put you on top. Refeed students. And the desks will go in there. Hey, it's in a folder. Let's throw a little mask on top of that folder. So now I can just quickly get a better, clear idea of this here. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. There. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. I might move this scene up a bit and add students in front. I'm just trying to figure out if I want all of this negative space up here, if I want their focal point to hit right here, or if I want to push it up a little bit. So, you know, like, so now I can kind of move this around and really find what the most pleasing image is. I can zoom it in, I can zoom it out. I'm not worried about losing, actually, I do kind of like that. I'm not worried about losing resolution right now, because this is all sketch. And when I print out my sketches in blue lines, it's more the final ink that I'm going to be thoughtful of. I'm going to create one more row of desks. Ish. Okay, something like that. Or actually, I'm going to call it students, call that 0, and just see what that looks like. They'll kind of fade out. So they're in the second row from the front. And it's, so whatever I put on a page can influence for the better or the worse of that focal point. All right, so I can play with that a little bit. That's not too bad. So I zoom out. It's good to kind of see, again, how does it look like in the scope of everything on the page. So, but that's a good start. All right. All right, so now we're going to go to this page. Why did I say, I make these notes. I'm like, why did I say move up? Oh, yeah. Okay, move over, add books. Let me grab my sketchbook. Where did I put it? There it is. So I'm just going to keep my sketchbook with its notes open. And I'm going to get rid of those little notes on the screen. Okay, cool. Okay, oops. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these right now. I'm going to make a copy. So this is his friend David. I'm not entirely sure. I might keep that look on David's face. I might work on a little bit, and I have a little more ability to do so as I go along. I feel like, actually, I'm just going to cut his head off. Sorry, David. Cut your head off. What? Oh, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. We're going to just clean it up a bit right there. Okay, good enough. This felt like his head was a little too high. There we go. And that's kind of one of the nice things about working digitally and traditionally. Yes, I know a lot of people work digitally right off the bat. I love my sketchbook. I love the feel of a traditional media. And I'm going to flip that. Okay, it looks fine for now. I'll probably be messing around with it a little bit more. There's a couple different expressions I was playing with. I got to figure out where the table's going to be. Okay, so, and the important thing is I need to make sure I have enough space for my word bubbles. So one thing I'm also thinking of right now is I don't know, I might keep it the same, but these two characters and these two characters here are all about the same size. It's nice to have variation. So maybe I'll make these two a lot bigger, maybe these two a little smaller. Zooming in, zooming out kind of puts a different effect, like a more intimate, you really kind of hear their conversation, or zoomed out, you get a different feel. And not only that, but making sure again, I have enough room for my word bubbles. Okay, so let's take a look. So I know, I'm actually going to put this up here. I'm going to say word bubble sketches. Make this white. I love that in Clip Studio. You can choose any color to designate to your different layers. So it just makes it a lot easier. Okay. Some also, you know what? I got to also pull up my script. Which you don't get to see. I'm sorry. It's a secret. At least for now. Okay. We are in the classroom scene. All right. Okay, so yeah, I think I want to fix something with David here, but that's okay. For right now, he says something. So I could leave. I kind of wanted it to look like Kyle was walking, like, getting out of a desk, his seat, and walking behind him. Okay, give me a second here. I'm going to think. And I kind of want them both bigger. Is that right? Yeah. I like that a lot better. They were just too small. Delete. Interesting. Sorry, boring part. I might need to come back to this panel. It's going to take a little bit of thinking. The problem is that if he's standing, he might be up a little bit higher. But then obviously it's running off the page. Now, however, that's not bad. I did do that in this page here. I have the professor, his head is breaking this panel. So that can be done. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to turn this into that kind of page or a panel. I mean, I'm gonna try something. Yep. You can do it. You do that right. Okay, yeah, because this will work if I put it on top. Okay, it's all about the layer order. I'm just going to see what this looks like right now, breaking the frame. The one concern is I want to make sure that this frame break doesn't take away some of the punch from this panel as well. So, wow. Sorry about that. That is my cat trying to get into the art room, but she is a little diva and will steal the show. And I saw Ryan mentioned, yeah, so what I'm working on, this is InterStella Out of This World is one of the pages for that. And thank you, Ryan. He advised me to break it up into portions. So I plan on taking InterStella Out of This World and breaking up into like 4 to 5 chapters, about 32 pages each. So I'm working on the first chapter. So just making it a lot more, the goal a lot more achievable than like way out in the future. Okay. Also, if you've never worked with masks before, Photoshop and Clip Studio, they have them. It's what this little button is. It says create layer mask. Oh my gosh, you got to learn. It's so essential. And basically what it does is it creates a non-destructive way to edit your layers. And it means that, like, for instance, I'll explain. There's David here. I want to erase this right here, the corner of his elbow, just to see what it looks like to have like maybe the breaking the top of the plane, but not the bottom of the plane. But if I decide later, I'm like, nah, I want, I need to move him around, and, maybe I need to actually move him up here, and oh no, his elbow's gone. If I do that, instead, oops, if I put a layer mask on and I clear it there, I can just toggle that on and off. So all it's doing is putting a little mask over it and hiding it for now. So if I move this layer, it moves it with him. Or if I know it's a little hard to see, but if I click this little check mark, uncheck it, and now I select the layer, not the mask. It was like you can select between the two. Now I can move him around, and every time it goes down into that little mask, the mask stays put, and then you can move the layer. This was a game changer. Totally worth it. Use masks. They're important. That sounded very political, but I meant it in a Photoshop way. I'm not going to even try to get into the other realm. Use Photoshop masks. They're important. Oy. And suddenly I'll be like, why did YouTube block my channel? I'm innocent. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll fix that a little bit more. And I'm going to link. Ooh, can I? Nope, wrong one. Sorry, it's a little different. Photoshop has the ability to link layers, and I know there's an ability here too, but I just don't know what it is right now. It's okay. I'll just select them both. Okay, I kind of like that better. It's still breaking the plane, but it's still simple enough. Okay, I like that better so far. And then I'll worry about like fixing his arm, something like that. But again, just kind of blocking it in. Okay. And this might go, maybe what I'll do is I'll open up this panel and kind of let it drift off the page, because everything here in this scene is in a panel. It's in a panel, a panel, a panel. And sometimes it's nice to have something break out of the panel. Again, using this page here, we have our panel, 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 and then you have the professor that's kind of like, he is the panel. I kind of like that. It creates a little bit of, your brain probably won't notice it, but it will create some interest. That's a chair. Believe it or not, that's a chair. And again, I'm drawing off the edge of the paper, and my frame cut, it will look like that. But it just kind of gives me an idea. Okay. Good enough for now. Okay. Let's see, and I'll check. I like that. An out of this world story with down to earth calls. You should coin that. Oh, I love it. All right. Water break. Tea break. I love that. Okay. We have a few more panels left. I don't know why I never filled this one in. I guess I got distracted. Okay, so here's a trade-off. this guy, I can already see one thing I kind of want to try differently. And you're like, what on earth are you doing? Okay, we're going to first of all make a copy. There we go. So if I destroy it, I can go back. I'm going to, I feel like his head is a little big, but I like the proportion, make his body just a little bit bigger. I've also started to play more with the liquefy. I like that better. It's going to get cut off there. I'm going to flip it. It looks weird. Every time I flip it, it's like everything always looks so weird. I always feel like, oh, why does it look awful? Yeah, not terrible. I have learned something. I draw with a lean. So when I'm drawing on my sketchbook, I like to kind of like lay my head to the side and draw. And it's a bad habit because then when I sit up, it's like the face I'm drawing is like stretch. So it's a bad habit. So a lot of my artwork has a bit of a lean to it, especially if I flip it. Yeah, it's something I gotta work on. I'm not gonna do that here yet. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Just a sketch for now. I might work on this pose a little bit more, but okay. Okay, and he says something as well. So I'm just going to kind of pop that in. I think I'm going to lower them a bit. And maybe, again, make them a little bit bigger. And maybe what I will do, I don't know, I have to play around with this panel. I'm trying to figure out if I want both these panels like on this same line, that division, or if I want to break them up slightly. This is going to be a dividing line in between. Okay, I'm going to have to think on that. Sometimes a trick, for instance, if this is a little too light and I kind of want to bring it up to the same darkness as the rest of the lines, I just make a copy of this selection, paste it, and then I paste it down on my sketch layer. So whereas like that was just a copy of that head. It just makes it a little bolder. It's a little cheat. Okay, so I said I felt like Kyle was a bit up, like just too standing straight. Kind of wanted to give him a bit of a lean because he's walking. This isn't, I mean, working on the stage is where I try different things. A little bit. And actually, that might just be enough. All right. I might be working more on the anatomy on this one. But that's kind of good-ish, at least for now. I'm going to give this a rough box. Or, there we go. Trim. So I'm not putting any of the lines in. This is, again, just to get an idea. A little concerned about these 4 characters right here. They're all kind of on the same plane. So I might see what it looks like to bring this down a bit. Or this one. I don't want to bring it too far up because I don't want it to impede, but that might mean that I just make this slightly smaller because admittedly, I don't need this much space up here. It's unnecessary. A little bit is good because you kind of want a bit of that vast space, but I'll be kind of playing around with that. Okay, I'll come back to that. Sometimes it's like, if you can't figure it out right there, come back to it. It might just fall into place. Okay. And you know what? Save files. It's good. All right. Well, now we're over here. I'm going to make a copy of it because I'm actually going to get, well, actually, I could leave that for now. I'll leave it for now because I don't think I need to do a whole lot with this. And this one's going to be pretty standard. Weird. Green. So this is going to be kind of the whiteboard in the background and like a little tray. You'll kind of see maybe like a little eraser on it. But because I already broke out this panel, I'm probably going to actually keep this panel bounded by a box. So it'll look kind of like that. I'm just trying not to do too many repetitive things one after the other. Kind of creates a conceptual tangent. Yeah, maybe I'll put the eraser right here so you can see it's like a whiteboard. I might put like a marker there or something. All right. Okay, that's good for now. And I forgot to get, I don't know what happened here. Oh, there you are. Okay. Hiding. Whee. All right. And see, that's the real reason I do this, because I can display shadow puppets. So much fun. All right. So again, kind of mimicking, I know I literally just said I don't want to repeat too much, but on a separate page, I think this will be fine. And I think it's going to be, I'll show you here. I'll back up. I think faster than I can talk sometimes. So I'm going to try and line up these two same eye level because I want one beat to the next happen pretty seamlessly. So he goes, oh, clears his throat, and then he goes right into drawing on the board. See, I'm going to make that a little darker. And even his hair is like too light. All right, good enough. Shrink. Let's just get rid of that. I always want to draw hands really big. I don't know why. They look like boxing gloves. Actually, I don't like doing it this way, but meh. Okay. I'm trying to get the rough approximate. A hand is about the same size as a face. So I always put my chin on the palm. And my fingers land about halfway up my forehead. So I'm kind of eyeballing and seeing like, okay, if he could put his chin on his palm, would it be roughly the same? And this is stylized art. So in general, my drawings tend to have slightly larger heads because it's a little bit more of a comic angle from it, a comic drawing, simplified. I don't want to use the word cute because then you think kawaii, but it's more lighthearted. So I feel like my characters tend to be about 7.5 heads tall rather than 8 heads tall. 8 heads is typically, if you're going for realism, it's about 8. Yeah, so all that to say is, as long as the hands kind of match the face size and then neither like one is too big or too small, then I feel like I'm kind of in a right area. So, okay, that's pretty good for right now. All right, so now we're going to put, and I opened this panel up a bit. Say this is kind of where the white board eraser will go. And then I'll probably just have another pen here or something, a whiteboard marker. Say whiteboard, Baird. Can't spell, I can't type. White, B-A-O-R-D, Baird, whiteboard. And again, space for the word bubble. And let me check my script. Okay, it's not a lot that's being said. So, ish. And then what I will do later is I will just pop in a rough type to make sure I'm giving everything enough space before I commit to inks. And I can change things after the inking phase. It's just more annoying because then I am a little more concerned about resizing things. You can resize, excuse me. You can resize some things a little bit, get away with it. You can use the sharpen feature, but don't do too much because you can quickly lose the quality of your line art. Actually, I'm going to go, I think it's going to be like drawing a circle, but that's going to be done in color. So I don't think I'm actually going to draw that part. Maybe like kind of like drawing a circle on the board. Okay, so, and I'm going to put a rough box here as well. There. Make sure I didn't get that. Okay, good. All right, so this is kind of what I have right now. Let's see. Yeah, so what I'm now what I want to look at is I talked a little bit about looking at when I was working on here, I was sort of like talking about seeing this as its own image and then how it correlates to the page. And now I want to see how do both pages look together. Oh, come on. I don't know why you're so angsty. All right, so just a quick peek. I'm gonna try and move these. All right, so these pages are gonna be going together. I don't know why everything's kind of spazzing. I can't quite get them perfectly. That's okay. And I know that this is colored right now, but the flow is not too bad. So I see. So yeah, so looking at this image together, and now all of this together, one thing I am noticing is these 4 panels at the bottom are similar because you have like one aspect of Kyle looking ahead, and then like in the next heartbeat, he's looking over. And then here, it's another aspect to aspect shot. Actually, that's not the right term for it, but it's kind of like one heartbeat to the next. So they're quick actions sequentially to each other. So what I'm wondering is this too repetitive to have in 2 pages together? I think it's going to be okay because at least these 2 panels are varied enough. I might even make these 2 panels a little bit taller to break it. The other thing is I don't want to create another tangent. Like if all these panels, let's see if I can do it here. Hey, there it is. Actually, I'll use this. I want to be careful of not creating a tangent. Half of this work is just being careful of not trying to create tangents. I can't quite get it the perfect, you know what I mean? Okay, it's fine. But I'm trying not to make these like the same height, where the viewer might be concerned that these 4 panels go together. So I probably will bring these panels up a bit, so there's a bit of a height difference. And if I wanted to, I might even open this up and not contain it in a panel, kind of like how I opened this up as well. So his head breaks that frame, the chair, and David will break the frame, and the same color will continue out here. So I might do the same thing here, and then just you see all of that. And that's another good way to just kind of help creating a little more diversity in the page. This here, I got to figure out this one here. Oh, there it is. No, this word bubble, unfortunately, I can't really, you know what? Here, I'm going to go like this. And I'm just going to stick this in here for now. And I'm going to, so I'm kind of now looking, oh, weird. What's going on? Huh. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make this. I don't think my screen likes sharing between all these things. Here we go. So now I have, I'm going to have to think on this bit. I don't like all these characters are kind of similar size. It's not the worst thing in the world. It could be better, but sometimes in the scope of trying to get pages done, it's like, you know what, if it's still pretty good, it's going to be good. I'm going to try something. So I'm going to go ahead and create a copy. This is why I have like a zillion layers and my file sizes are giant. The other thing too is I might make Kyle a little bit taller or shorter, but for right now, I just kind of want to see what a different size looks like. I can't really. Again, I'm going to uncheck this and let's just see what. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to try something here. We're going to clear the mask. I'm going to add a new one. And we're going to unlink it so that whatever I move can stay within that. So it's not a ton of space. And I can't really make it much bigger, otherwise this gets smushed. I might just have to kind of play around with this and come back to it. Oh, I might even, what I could do is I might pop this out of it. So, wow, let's get rid of this for a second. Okay, so I'm going to test right here. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Let's just see something. I just don't have a lot of room to work with. And I also realize I don't have. So I'm now thinking, well, maybe I can kind of make this frame break a bit more, but now I'm starting to run into trouble down here. So, I'm going to have to think on this one a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I like that they're a little bit bigger. but now they're all still the same size. So maybe making this a little smaller might be better. You know what? Let me just quickly try that. So many things going on everywhere. What would happen if I made this smaller instead of larger? Wrong one, wrong way. It's not bad. It's not bad. I might have to sit on this one a little bit and think about it. And I'm gonna work on some other stuff. I still have to work on this scene. I still have to put in the characters, play around with the just the cropping and the composition of that. But roughly, this is the page I will be working on. So, and you know what? It's not too bad. I like that this one is broken up here, and then the break is a little bit offset. So it's not just like a checkerboard. It's a little bit more of a standard. It's not the most exciting compositional frames, but that's okay. The next frame next page I'm going to be going into is Kyle drawing a lot of stuff on the board and talking. So we're going to have a lot of word balloons, and we're going to hope, who else is doing this? I hope to be able to create a nice flow of him talking through the page and you being able to see what he's writing on the board. So this page is a little bit of a breath, like a break, and then we're going to go into it in the next page. So again, with this one here, some stuff is happening. It's kind of like middle action. It's not like a ton of stuff happening, but it's not like nothing happening. And then here's a little bit of a break, a little kind of like short snippets of words. And the reason I'm doing that is to create an atmosphere of, if you're asked to go draw something on a board and you realize you're the only one, you feel a little bit small, maybe a little intimidated, like all by yourself, like, oh, here I am going to write, on the center, the spotlight of attention. You kind of feel small. I want that feeling of smaller conversation, maybe a little quip here, a little word here, a small phrase here. And then it's just going to explode into all this talking. So that's another element of kind of going small before we make it more attention grabbing on the next page. It gives a bit of a respite for the readers. So it's okay. That's a little like, also this composition is one square on another, and a block on another. It's a very stable composition. Nothing really exciting is happening when you see, actually, I might have an example. Not right now, but if you see a really exciting dynamic composition, you're going to see a lot of diagonal lines and maybe tilted boxes. And so that creates a mood too, that creates energy. But right now I want this room to feel kind of stable, quiet, subdued before he goes into his, on all of his writing and explanation on the board. So I think I'm okay with this. And I'm looking at how does this fit into the general scene that I'm working on, which is several pages long. So I think of it as a song. It's like you have an intro, you kind of rise in a bit of like climactic excitement when it comes to the point of that scene, and then it descends again. So it has also beginning, middle, and end. But anyways, I'm not going to go ahead and get into story a lot because that's a whole nother topic. But I think I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap it up here. This is a good place to stop. At least I know it's nothing like really exciting, but for those of you who are, working on compositions, I'm excited to hear if you have any input or thoughts, or was this helpful? Was this interesting? And it was for me. I got some work done and I got to chat. So I will go ahead. And I appreciate, Helen says, always amazed at how much thought and decision-making goes into this work. Yeah, it does take a lot of work. And I feel like I might be a little bit slower at it, but or just really methodical. Maybe there are other people who are able to kind of see this faster, but I think it makes for good work, and I'd rather take some time to make something pretty solid that I feel proud of. So yeah, I feel good about that. Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap it up, but thank you guys so much. I'm gonna take this off. Oop, there it is. So thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. I enjoy doing these little live streams. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm an artist, and so I'm working really hard on this book. And with that said, I'm not going to be able to probably be that consistent with my YouTube channel. But if they overlap and I'm able to get some work done, I would love to continue doing this. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys showed up and give it a thumbs up. You know, if you are interested in seeing more videos of behind the scenes, or just feel like you have a friend in the room to chat to, subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit that little bell to let you know that whenever I have a new video or live stream coming up. If you just subscribe, you won't actually get notified. It's confusing. So hit the bell too. But thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully I will see you sometime next week. And I hope you will have an amazing rest of your weekend. So take care.